Hi, I'm Darren Hayes, and you are logged onto What You Got.
So tell us a little bit about the new album.
Oh God. Well, first of all, it's really very strange to even talk about it because it's been finished for a while and it's been sort of locked up for a while. So it feels a bit like I'm at a confessional speaking about it. I love it. It's a big fat pop record, I guess, with a focus on songwriting, and it's really personal. A bit heavy. I don't know. I'm rubbish at this. You'll have to tell me what's. You'll have to put a little thing and say what it's like. I
Well,
think it's good.
tell us about the single.
The first single is called Talk Talk Talk, and it is a thumping number that was written with Swedish producer Carl Falk, and I just love him, and I loved spending time in Sweden. So I guess it's hard for me to say. I think it has a lot of current pop influences, and I would say that the album as a whole probably is quite contemporary in that sense. So there's Talk 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 especially is really synthy, and but lyrically it's actually quite serious. So it's a song about a call for peace, really, between two lovers who are at war. So it's basically saying, we're both saying the same thing, we're just speaking different language, and all I want to do is just talk to you. The video is finished, and it's been amazing. The guy who did the album cover is a guy called John Gilsonan, and he's got a company called I Want Design, and he did a Tracy Thorn album cover that I was obsessed with, and I sort of stalked him. And there was a couple of album covers that I loved, and one of them was Dangerous by Michael Jackson, and it was all about over design, and I told him I wanted that kind of album cover. And our video for Talk 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 is almost like a moving version of the album cover, if that makes sense. There's lots of collage, and there's lots of green screen, and somebody was paid paltry amounts of money to spend hours working on it in a lab, but it's finished, and I really love it.
So have you confirmed the album release date yet? Have you announced it?
You know that I've confirmed the album release date because I've told you off camera.
I was actually going to say it in the question.
But it's towards the end of the year. So what I plan to do, I'll give you a little What You Got exclusive. So I'm actually touring a really tiny number of dates this year. I'm doing just 4 dates in the UK in October, and I'm doing 2 dates in America. I'm doing an LA and New York show, and then in Australia, I'm doing just Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne in November. But all of that will be announced, I guess, in a couple of weeks. But that's what's happening. The plan on this record really was to try to connect to people that, if I'm completely honest, the people that thought I was possibly dead or retired, because I know that I've been making records mostly for my fantastically loyal fan base, but it hasn't really broken outside into the mainstream much in the last couple of years, and I really want the music to, because it's very, it's a big colourful pop record. I don't download music illegally, no, I never have. I'm obviously really, there's 2 sides to my disappointment about leaking. I think as somebody of my generation, I think of albums as being a complete work, like a set of work, and I don't know, I think from an artist's point of view, it's such a spoil sport. It spoils so much fun when an album leaks early, because I know from my point of view, there have been so many things that we've been setting up and things that we want to roll out, and the things that I'm doing for my fans, things that I want to do, because I remember what it felt like when I was a kid and waiting for a record to be released, and I loved just getting all the little details and sort of adding up all the clues and getting it. So leaking really spoils that, and I think in a lot of ways it's just kind of a bit rude, really. The idea of an album leaking maybe a week before it comes out, I guess that's a standard thing, because once it hits a warehouse, someone's going to leak it. The argument for not stealing music is really about the fact that someone's got to pay for them to be made, and for an artist in my position, I've no problem in admitting that it's been a long time since I've made money from a record, a long time, and they cost a lot of money, and I guess at the moment I can sort of afford to make a record, But I do feel for new artists that get dropped after the first single doesn't chart top 10, or brilliant artists who are undiscovered who can't get a record label. And it's not about having expensive equipment, it's about, you know, paying folks to work really hard to go out there and play your record and sell your record and build up your fan base. And that's what your money is. When you pay for a record, you're paying for all these people to invest in the careers of other people. So I guess I feel quite strongly against it. Times have changed incredibly. Yeah. I mean, it just really shouldn't matter, and I don't think it does matter in general now if an artist is out from the beginning. You know, I think it's very, very different climate to what it was when I first began. I mean, it's bizarre. I think that level of fear was really smothering, and I think it kept a lot of people in the closet. It was a strange one for me. I mean, I've talked pretty honestly about this. I never really felt of myself as being in. I just felt I felt that I was still really trying to work myself out. And I think in my own career at the beginning of Savage Garden, had someone outed me, I think it would have been so damaging for me psychologically, because I was so messed up anyway, trying to work out who I was. So I feel really grateful that my coming out it coincided with me actually accepting myself, who I was, and then being proud of that, because there's a huge leap between knowing that you're gay and then also not being ashamed of that. There's a whole generation of kids who can just check a box on Facebook or MySpace, or does anyone MySpace anymore? But you know, and they can just, you fit into some sort of box, and you know, it's cool, whatever floats your boat. And it's fantastic that it's not really a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I just want to say thank you for listening to me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.